Okay, I'll just repeat the last step. Is that fine?
Yeah.
Let me close this. Power off the machine. Okay. So we have selected the ISO, booted the file here from the downloads. I have booted the ISO image and we have started the machine. So this is how any operating system from Windows will start the operating system installation. First, it will ask us to select language and time zones. We can select English, India. Yeah, so click on next and install now. So here we have different versions. So in Windows 10, how we have Windows Pro and Windows Home Edition, then Windows Enterprise, right? So there are different features for all these different types of operating systems. Likewise, in server also we have standard evaluation with desktop experience, data center evaluation, and data center evaluation with desktop experience. So now you might have the question that what is the difference between desktop experience and just the normal one, right? So desktop experience means you'll have lots of user-friendly experience, GUI, the graphical user face interference. And the normal edition is, it does not include the graphical user interface, which means that most of the tasks are done via commands. So in the description, you can see here, this option is recommended, reduces management and serving by installing only what is needed. It does not include a GUI. GUI is nothing but graphical user interface. But you can fully manage the server locally or remotely with Windows PowerShell. Windows PowerShell is nothing but a built-in scripting tool or a command line tool. So everything is done on the command line. So now we will select data center evaluation desktop experience so that we can have a GUI also, which is nothing but graphical user interface, where we can see all the features like how it is in our home computer. Let's click on next. Accept the licensing terms, click on next. So you will select this first option if you have already installed 2016 server and you are upgrading it. So now we are installing a new fresh installation. I will go with custom. This is the 50 GB we had selected. Click on new and apply. Why I am clicking on new? Because it's unallocated space. We have to allocate it. So I'll click on new, click on apply, click on OK. Then we have a system reserved, which goes up to 500 MB and 49.5 GB. We have partitioned it now. So we want to install the system here. It's already selected. I'll click on next. Even while installing Windows 7 or Windows 10, this is the procedure. Or you might see a similar kind of installation of Windows operating system setup. So once we install this, we will install Active Directory service on it. You will see how we can create profiles. After that, we can create accounts. So I am showing you this because this is the base, or this is very important with respect to our troubleshooting. Whenever we are troubleshooting, we go to troubleshooting part, we always need to know the domain part of it, because later on we will troubleshoot with respect to either the problem is with the account, or the problem is with the computer, or the problem is with the server itself. So in those lines, we need to know how domain works, what all we can see in the domain, and what all we need to support using Active Directory. So I will send you YouTube links for Active Directory. It is very vast topic, but we need not know each and everything in terms of support, because there are people only hired for Active Directory jobs. Active Directory controller, Active Directory admin. There are specific people who will take care of all the servers and Active Directory. So our job is to know the basics of what a server can do, what an Active Directory server can do, how domain works, so that we can be able to be in a position to help a domain user, which is nothing but all the companies, wherever, whichever company you go, you will have users in the domain. You need to look after their accounts, look after their access. If someone forgets their password, you need to reset the password using Active Directory. So that is the reason I'm going first with the domain. Any doubts, please stop and you can ask. So once you see this today, then we will go to the networking part. So once you are good with the domain and the networking, you will have a fair idea on how the scenarios will come, what we need to support, all those things. You'll have a better understanding. So it's installed and it will restart now. Okay, it shouldn't have come to this screen. Save the machine state, all of the machine. So now it's getting ready. So did you see the first time, when it restarted, it said press any key to continue. So I pressed space. So it came back to the installation screen. That's because of the boot menu. So we will also need to understand the boot process, how a computer boots to the operating system from the hardware. And what is BIOS? Basic input output system. How we can enter the BIOS and see what are the boot options. So it's very difficult to explain it over remotely because BIOS options will be before you get to the operating system. So it's asking me to enter the administration password. Let's enter a password. Now the system is ready. So
Bhushan, excuse me. Can
yes.
you just summarize this again? Actually, what is the working of this? First, we have to install the Windows Server 2016, you're saying, and then we have to.
First, we need to download Oracle VirtualBox. Download Oracle VirtualBox. Second, install Oracle VirtualBox. Download Windows Server 2016 or 2019 from Microsoft website. Fourth, open Oracle VirtualBox. Go to settings, or you need to first create a machine. Once you create the machine, go to settings, storage, mount the server ISO file, start the machine. Select time and language, and then start installation. After reboot, set admin password. So we have done these steps now. Got it? Any doubts?
Yeah, so that means like you're telling this is the working, how it is going to be when you go into a company. This is the thing, it happens actually.
No, this is just a lab practice. So once now we have to configure the server. Now we have just installed 2016 server. Now we have to configure things. Once we configure things and once we start creating accounts, right? So those are the scenarios where we are going to see in the company how we can create the accounts, how we can reset the password, how we can create different um, locations based on locations or based on teams, right?
Okay.
So yeah, so this is we have used this Oracle VirtualBox just to create a server. This is my home laptop, right? So this is not my company laptop. So I need to create an environment, a server environment, where I need to show you how a server works, how an Active Directory server works, how we can. So this is for lab purpose. So
Uh-huh.
Oracle
Okay.
VirtualBox is a virtualization tool where I can install a server, configure it, and create a dummy server and show it to you.
Okay, fine. Now I understood.
Yeah. So let me first. All right. So when I go to input and keyboard, it will ask me to insert Control Alt Delete. It will ask me to enter password, which we have set. I will enter the password. See, so now what we achieved is we have now installed a Windows server. This is not a normal computer. So whenever you, this is my, if I minimize this, so this is my home laptop. I have start here. These are all the options. And whereas in server, you have directly dashboard, server manager dashboard in server. So I'll click on add roles and features. I'll click on next. We will install the Active Directory. So before I do that, let me add administrator. I'll go to computer management. Computer management, right click, run as administrator. So even if you do not follow these steps right now, it's completely fine. I'm just showing you how the Active Directory things will be in place. So whenever you go to a company, no one will ask you to configure the Active Directory server itself. No, these are handled by the infrastructure guys. Creation of server, Active Directory, domain services, all these configurations will not be done by technical support engineers. So these things are done by the infrastructure engineers or Microsoft server admins. So let me go to administrator. It's already there. Okay, so yeah, let's begin with add our rules and features. I'll click next. It's again role based or feature based installation. Click next. This is the computer name for this system. So how to find a computer name? When you go to this PC, click on properties, you will have computer name here. So even if I go to my computer, this PC, if I click on properties, this one, I go to system properties, I will have my computer name here, right? So in the same way, this has the computer name. So we have selected 2 GB RAM, right? See, we have 2 GB RAM here. It's 2016 data center evaluation. So this is the IP address, internal IP address. Click on next. And now we are going to install. So these are the servers. So these are the features which we can install from the server manager. So right now we are going to only look at Active Directory. features. That is it, right? We click on next. So if someone is installing, if a network guy wants to configure this as a DNS server, he will select DNS feature here. If a network guy wants to install this as a DHCP server, he will select this as well. If someone wants this to configure as a web server, they will select the web server IIS. So there are many such features wherein you can make this as a domain or a primary server. So right now I am only going with Active Directory to make you understand what domain looks like. Let me click on next. So for Active Directory and the to configure server, we require .NET framework, which is already here. What else we require? That's it. Click on next and click on next. Install. I will close this tab now, or let us wait to get this installed. So we will spend some more time today. If everyone are okay, even after the call gets finished, we can rejoin the same. Will that be fine?
Yeah, it's okay with me.
Okay for me also.
Thanks. All right, so installation succeeded. I'll click on close. We will have a notification here. When I click on that, now it says promote this server to a domain controller. So right now I have installed the feature. I've installed the role for domain services. I have to promote that to the domain controller. So this is the first time I am configuring a server for my own company, and I have to promote this server to a domain controller. I'll click on that. So now I will specify a domain here. So here I'll select add a new forest. So you might ask, what is the difference between forest and a domain? Let me this is one company. Reliance India. This is another company. Reliance Power. This is another company, let's call it Reliance Petroleum, right? So everyone will have, it's a different company itself. It is under Reliance Industries. It's a different entity, altogether a different company. So Reliance India will have Reliance India.reliance.com. Reliance Power will have some other domain, right? And Reliance Petroleum will have petroleum.reliance.com. So when you say a forest, the entire combination of the domains when a company is merged into a different company. This is called as forest. Reliance Industries, forest. So that's the difference between a forest and a domain, where you will have forest means it will have multiple domains. You can have different company, need not be Reliance India. So Reliance in, um, you might have heard that Syndicate Bank and Canara Bank have been merged, right? So now syndicate banks, all the every detail of all the domain will be merged into Canara Bank, and Canara Bank becomes the forest. So that's how mergers also happen. They will build the trust relationship between the servers, between the infrastructures, and that's how they merge, which becomes a forest. This is just a brief. There's a lot more into this, which will be handled by all the infrastructure team. But this is a basic idea. We need to know what is a forest, what is a domain, right? So I'll be creating a new forest now, which let me give it name as gokak.com. I'll click on next. It says Windows Server 2016, correct. Let me create a root password. I'll click on next. So I need not worry about the networking part now. I will not configure this now. I'll click on next. So the NetBIOS domain name itself be automatically detected. Click on next. So the location files for the database, these are the locations. Keep it as default. Click on next. This is a review option, which we have come across the steps, and click on next. It will verify things. If there is any warnings, you can go past the warnings. If there are any errors, you have to click on the error to see what that error is. So DNS, all these are networking parts. It's just a warning. I can begin with installation. See, all prerequisites check pass successfully. Please click on install. So we'll join the same call again when the call ends.
Okay.